So I just got done watching the newest version of It. I don't know whether you want to call it a remake, reimagining, reboot, whatever you want to call it. And I can honestly say, in in doing reviews, you'll find me say that I really am not a big fan of most remakes, reimagining, reboots. They usually suck really bad, and they're usually terrible. Um, in watching this one, I had a lot of doubts that it would be good, um, but it was really good. Actually, it was very excellent, and that's hard to do. I mean, um, when it comes to Stephen King, I'm the first to admit I probably don't know, and I haven't seen every Stephen King movie adaptation there's ever been. I have seen it. I did see the original miniseries for it, which I did like. I'm not going to say I've seen it a dozen times or anything like that, or dozens of times. I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times, a handful of times, and maybe even less, maybe even twice. But I've always thought it was a pretty decent movie, decent miniseries. One of the biggest complaints I have with it is the biggest complaint everybody else has with it as well. Um, the original Tim Curry is Pennywise the Clown, and he is just such a great villain, such a great character that when you get to the reveal that it's just a big fucking spider and they kill this big spider with a slingshot and earrings, diamond earrings, you're just like, wow, that was a pretty shitty ending. And it really was. It really was a pretty shitty ending for what was otherwise a really decent miniseries. Um, this new film takes a slightly different approach to it. And I didn't read the book for it, so I'm sure there are people out there who have read the book and can probably correct me on any of this as well. Um, but this movie took a different approach from the original miniseries. Pennywise is I don't know if you want to call him a metamorph. He's able to change into many things, and maybe that was the case in the original, and I just don't recall it, or it didn't translate well enough in the original miniseries. Not rightly sure. I think it just didn't translate well enough. I mean, I think we got the concept that it projected itself as a clown, but I don't think it really projected itself as anything else other than that and the big spider. So it was disappointing. This movie was actually really good. I have to admit the young cast was very great. I have to admit one of the things that made me laugh is when one of the other castmates called Beverly the only female member of the Losers, who invited Molly Ringwald. It's pretty funny because all through the whole movie I just kept thinking to myself, "My God, that girl looks like Molly Ringwald." Um, but it's very scary. It's very well done, very well crafted, which is hard to say of any remake. It's actually kind of hard to say of most horror movies these days, to be honest. But this was well crafted. It was very well done. Certainly creepy, certainly weird. Definitely has enough action in it. Definitely, the young cast was absolutely amazing. I thought they were incredible. Um, I'm gonna go on the record saying, while I have seen seasons 1 and 2 of Stranger Things, um, I don't necessarily like them as much as the rest of the world does. I know they've been very hyped about the show and they enjoy it. I always felt like both seasons, while I think season 2 slightly better than season 1, it feels like it has borrowed liberally to the point where it's nearly theft from Stephen King, especially stories like it. Um, and I gather that's probably the concept of it, but I think it just does it better than Stranger Things does. I probably will be buying it on DVD at some point in time. And this movie does things a little differently, whereas the miniseries kept, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong on this, kept jumping back and forth between them as adults and them as children, telling the story back and forth, bouncing back and forth. Um, this one has broken the entire story for the first film into just them as children. There's no point of them being adults. clearly, at the end of the film, it comes as, and I'm giving you spoilers on the 2017 movie that a lot of people have seen already, but clearly by the end of the film, I'm not giving you any plot points, but clearly at the end of the film it says it, and then the words chapter 1 sort of just float into the scene as well. And so clearly the concept here is they wanted to tell you the story of the children in the 80s, and they wanted to then give you, I guess, the story of them as adults in the second film, should they make a second film, which apparently they are making a second film. I thought it was very excellent. It would be hard to top Tim Curry as Pennywise. I thought it would almost be impossible. This actor was actually very good in it as well. He certainly was a different Pennywise, but certainly a very good take on Pennywise. And as I said, the young cast was really good. They were very amazing. I think everything I felt Stranger Things has been lacking was actually available in this movie. Definitely something I'm going to buy when I get a free moment or two. I certainly will pick it up. I rented it on Redbox as it is. And yes, I know I'm just probably late to the party on Redbox as it is. I just recently started using that maybe last year. But at any rate, I did rent it. I did enjoy it. I certainly think I will be buying it on DVD. Highly recommend it if you enjoy Stephen King books, if you enjoy Stephen King movies. This is definitely one of the better adaptations that I have seen. It doesn't lack. You don't necessarily need to have read the King books, because like I said, I didn't read it. I've read other Stephen King books like Carrie and Needful Things and a few others as well, but I've never read it. But honestly, it was a very good film. I can't complain about it, and as I can see my clock here, I'm almost at the 7-minute mark of this one here, which is kind of funny because movies that were decent movies and I review them, I find my reviews of them are actually shorter because I don't have anything to complain about, which is kind of funny. That's why I tend to try to stick to reviewing movies that suck, because I think I have much more to complain about on those movies, and I find myself I'm funnier when I'm picking apart a movie. When I've enjoyed the movie and I've got nothing to complain about it, you're going to get a short review like this one here, which will probably top at about around 8 minutes or so. So I really don't have too much more to say about it. I actually think it was a very good movie if you enjoy horror movies. And this one isn't so scary that it's bloody or disturbing. I mean, there are parts of it that are obviously disturbing. But it's not such a shock and fright fest that you are disgusted by it. It was definitely a very good film all around. I would highly recommend seeing it. Highly recommend buying it if you get a chance. If you like horror movies, I definitely would recommend it. So there we go. For anybody who's wondering about my review for it, you now have it. You have it. Get it. God, that was fun.